So earlier you mentioned authenticity and that you were not living a life and being your authentic self. And I resonate with that. I think that's something very important. Gives us being true to ourselves. I think it gives us strength and purpose in return. But some people are entangled in the noise of the day to day and they can't seem to get out of it. What's your take on this? How would you help someone who is lost and they feel that they can't get out of the cage of life, if that makes sense?
Well, I was actually the same way. So it's I would say when you're at that point where you're like, I just don't know. That's great. Accept that you don't know. Accept it. I think so much of us, we when we are starting on this path of growth, of expansion,
Mm,
kind of living the life that we feel like we're here to live. When we have that and we don't know, we put a ton of pressure on ourselves, and it doesn't have to be that way. So I encourage people while they're doing the inner work, because the inner work's the biggest thing, right? It's,
yeah.
people will say, I've heard every excuse in the book, and they're not excuses, except they are excuses. There's the things that hold us
There's
back,
a
and
yeah.
they're all valid. Like I have to work at this job. I have to take my kids to
Yeah.
places. I have to go do these things. Those are all valid things. But maybe what's going on is that the why for what we'll get to that in a second. When it comes to like not knowing where to start small. And you don't have to open the door. Sometimes just peeking through the keyhole and going, okay, I can see something here. And when you start to honor that part of yourself,
Mm,
that part that's like, I would really like to be 10 pounds lighter, or I would really like to, go out for a walk every day, just to kind of be by myself, to give myself permission to have that time to myself. Whatever it is, I think starting small is a much more manageable way than going, I'm going to be the president in the next
yeah.
5 years, and I've never done anything political before. Like, it's,
Yeah.
you probably can do it these days, the way social media and everybody can catch fire the way
Definitely.
they do, but that's a lot of pressure too. And I find when people do that, they put this insane amount of pressure on them that makes them stuck, and it's kind of sad, because really you want them to embrace the
Mm,
small step. Like, just take the first step. Sometimes you
yeah.
don't know you're going to Los Angeles. You just know you're taking one step away from New
At a
York. This is
time.
not against any New Yorkers, by the way, but I think that's just it, right? You're going on the journey, and it does start with a single step. So sometimes it's just going,
Mm,
you know what? I'm going to drink. I want to. I always tell people, like, if you can't do anything else while you're doing the work, we can work. I'm an energy healer, and the way we work with things is I really like to get into the root cause of stuff.
yeah.
So while we're doing that, while we're unlocking things and releasing things, start with your health. You're going to need your body one way or the other to get through this. You need a good vehicle to get where you want to get to with your
Yeah.
journey. So start as something as simple as, if you're not drinking enough water, drink more water. Have more vegetables. Do the things that make sense to you. Everybody's different, but
Yeah.
do that one thing that kind of gives you momentum, and you start going.
I think we we are often mixed up between um, thoughts and emotions, and it- I think that's the most difficult part.
Hands up, yeah.
We're opening a bit of Pandora's box here.
Yeah, we can
I
go right
think
in. I'm good.
yes, yes, um, and I think that is the crux of things because we are. It happens naturally to us. I mean, um, for those of us who are have a heightened sense of logical reasoning as well as emotional reasoning, it often tends to get a little bit blurry, and sometimes we tend to be highly logical and highly emotional, even without us being 100% fully aware or in control of it. So to continue what you were rightfully saying about starting small, um, sometimes I always suggest to the people I interact with or clients I coach is that do what feels right. As long as you're not hurting anyone, including yourself, do what feels right. Sometimes we can't know if something is right or wrong, or we can't have a logical explanation to it, but we can feel it. We can feel whether something is right. It's the gut instinct, the gut feeling.
The gut feeling, yeah.
I think I would because those are really connected to our senses. I feel we would know if something doesn't feel right. At least if the first step is not very clear to us. If it's clear, then we go
Yeah.
for it. And I love the way that you explained. Start with drinking more water. It sounds so easy, yet we find it so difficult to do, including myself. Sometimes I have to remind myself to drink at least 2 liters of water. But it's so simple, yet if you don't drink enough, you have a headache. So the headache you might have,
Foggy.
yes. So with just a simple act and a basic human need as well, because we need water to survive, it has a it is yes it has a ripple effect, pun intended here. So
Yeah. I like that. I like how you did that. Yeah.